Man, oh man, oh man, it feels like the first day of school all over again, especially when you got something new. Welcome to the pilot slash first episode of the Burgundy Breakdown. Got a couple guys from the Washington Commanders community, faces that we all know and love. Reedie and Z, your man John down below, and yours truly, Juan Gotti, bringing the Burgundy Breakdown, basically an off-season show with the draft and combine coming up. We wanted to jump on and talk about some topics. First episode is going to have a feature of a retirement of Martin Mayhew, the Jonathan Allen trade, the confidence moving forward in quarterback Jaden Daniels, and the active approach in free agency, and obviously more talks about Marshawn Lattimore. Adam Peters continues to sound very confident in the cornerback. How are we feeling, fellas, about this journey that we're approaching tonight?
Man, feeling good, feeling great, Juan. I mean, it's good to be back on. I feel like I ain't recorded in months. You know what I mean? We ain't had much to talk about. But, you know, the combine is here to give us a little sprinkle of, some topics to discuss and kind of get us that feel like, football season is on the brink again. So I'm excited. How you feeling, John?
Man, I'm excited. I cannot wait for this little experiment to keep going, but man, it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question, man. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for agreeing to come on. This is just, something that I just thought up in my head, and it was like, who else to do it with but these guys right here that talk ball, talk the Washington Commanders every day, all day, while we going to transition into this offseason and what's to come for these Washington Commanders. And I think it's definitely going to be up for us, but I'm definitely excited and glad to be here with y'all.
No question. What up, everybody out there in the comments? Everybody saying hello, what's going on, checking in with us. Everybody excited to be back. But, without further ado, let's just kind of kick it off. First thing first, Martin Mayhew retired. AP talked about it yesterday. A former player. Then to come in and be an executive with the organization, a lot of hard work. AP mentioned that he was a huge part of our success last year. So sending them out right. The team dropped a thank you post and everything like that. I'm not sure how long he's been affiliated with the league, but it's been some time. So salute to Martin. And I think they said they're not going to replace him as far as the position per se, but anything y'all had to comment extra on that, or anything y'all caught from that part of AP's interview?
Yeah, of course. I definitely think we should talk about Martin Mayhew, especially given the fact that he had a very interesting role, especially going back to the Ron Rivera era. I'll be honest with you, a lot of people had his head on a stick going back to Ron Rivera, tenure. Basically had him as the main reason why we're drafting guys that ain't panning out, because he had a history with Detroit when they were 0-16, and they really was putting him as like the vocal reason behind the Ron Rivera drafts, when in reality we know it was Ron Rivera calling the shots. So it definitely was great to see him stick around. We got to figure out why he stuck around. A lot of people was questioning, like, even though Martin Mayhew really wasn't that good under the Ron Rivera regime, why did he stick around? We found out Adam Peters really, messed with him, liked him, and he wrote him letters, and Martin Mayhew was the only guy to get back to him when he was coming up in the ranks. So he definitely wanted to give him that favor as well. And as a player, he means a lot to this organization too. So to have 20 plus years in a league, from a player, from an executive standpoint, is definitely a hell of a career. And he definitely went out on the right note. So shout out to Martin Mayhew for all that he has done for this organization and throughout his career, because he definitely played a vital role in the success last season.
Yeah, I just want to add, I think they said 26 years between being a player and being in the front office or in some capacity. I think Martin Mayhew gets a lot of slack within, the Commanders community because of the Ron Rivera tenure situation. But we have to realize that he did not have full control. He kind of had some control but not full control. Ron ultimately had the final say so in things that happen. And from what's come out thus far this offseason as it relates to previous people that we had on our roster and the arguments that they had in backroom channels and stuff like that, that tells me that everybody's voice wasn't necessarily heard like it's being heard under this Adam Peters regime. And we had to remember that he was also with Peters in San Francisco before he came over here and took the job for Ron. So he's been on some teams that have done great things as far as talent acquisitions and things of that nature. So like you guys said, I want to second my hats off on a good career, 26 years. But I kind of think that the writing was on the wall based off of the contract, that he was probably going to be out this year anyway. But he just may have just said, I'm going to just go ahead and go off into the sunset and retire. But hats off to Mayhew for what he has done for our organization over the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Mayhew for having a successful career. And I was actually looking over some stuff too and see he drafted, guys like Matt Stafford, guys like Ndamukong Suh, so Golden Tate, some of those key guys that was on the Lions team. So yeah, shout out to him. He definitely had some key guys that he brought in as well. Like we said, he did catch a lot of slack for some things, but he definitely had some success there as well. Yeah, and then moving along, John, did you have anything you wanted to say about Mayhew?
No, I was in the say the same thing y'all were gonna say. Agree with the same sentiments y'all put in. 26 years, player personnel, not good career, good for him. And you end on your last year with an NFC Championship, appearance as a personnel director. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, no question. And of course, the next topic we want to discuss, news dropped just yesterday that the team gave John Allen permission to seek a trade. Now, what have y'all been hearing? Because from what I got is that, they just gave him permission. But I also been hearing some chatter like that he actually asked for the trade. So I was thinking maybe they told him they was gonna release him and he asked, or did y'all hear any, did he just walk in and ask for the trade? Like, what y'all think? What y'all been hearing?
Yeah, so I personally, this is just my take. I'm a Washington Commanders fan and a content creator. I'm not JP Finley. I'm not none of those guys. I don't have no inside source, no inside man or anything. This is just pure speculation by your man Juan Gotti. What I personally think is that we're trading him due to his contract and his lack of production. I don't think Jonathan Allen walked in there and said he wants to trade. Why the heck would he do that? He's been here since 2017. He's seen this team from the worst of the worst. He's stuck around this long. Last year he talked about potentially wanting to trade because we were so bad. Not this past year, but the last year with Ron. Yeah. He talked about, wanting to be out of it because he was so bad. Now the year we're finally good and he tore his pec and wasn't really a part of the success how he wanted to be. You think he genuinely wants to leave that? No, not at all. We're trading him or we're releasing him because he is not good, right? No more. And it had me thinking to the point, I don't want to discredit him for his tenure here, but we were so hungry to find any face of the franchise or any kind of successful players that maybe we overhyped Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen as a duo. We overhyped the Chase Young, Montez Sweat, vaunted front four, how the NFL, we put that crazy little stance on them when in reality they weren't. You look at the 4 guys, look at Chase Young, what has he done? He's a Jadeveon Clowney guy, a 1-year wonder. He's going to be in the league, but he's going to always sign 1-year deals. Montez Sweat's been the most successful one, but even this past year, you had Bears fans questioning where did he go after signing that extension. And then Deron Payne, after that 11 and a half season, he hasn't lived up to it. And obviously Jonathan Allen, he's 30 years old. He's due $15 million this year, and you could gain $16 million this upcoming free agency and offseason by cutting him. It makes too much sense. Obviously, you have a guy like Terry McLaurin who's due for an extension or could be due for an extension that could also save you money. You could use that 16 mil on Terry McLaurin or somebody else. So it just makes too much sense. And I don't think Jonathan Allen wants to be released or traded at all. I just genuinely think we have a front office that actually knows how to use their brain and isn't scared to pull the trigger on releasing players of that caliber and not holding on to them because we no longer have to do that because these are the faces of our franchise. We pin him. No, he's not what a real defensive tackle is. You know who is a real defensive tackle? Aleem McNeil, Jalen Carter. That's the kind of guys that we need in the building, not Jonathan Allen. And again, not to discredit anything that he's done here. It's time to move. I don't know what just happened, but thank you for what you did here. You're a DMV native. It's always going to be love, but it's time to move on, get younger, better, and faster. Looking at the draft, looking at Johnny Newton, like, hey, it's your time, young fella. John, step up. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna let somebody else go, but I even want to get rid of Deron Payne. I want a whole new defensive line. I know we're not gonna get rid of Deron Payne because he costs too much. You have a potential out of his contract next year, so we'll see what he do this upcoming season. But I want a whole new defensive line if it was up to me. So I guess it's a good reason I'm not in that position because I will restart the whole D line. Only bring back Dante Fowler and Johnny Newton.
Yeah, I mean, and they talking about, they sending him out on a good note. They trying to help him find somewhere that he would like. They being positive about it. So it's not like they're just trying to drop him and dog him. And that's what I expected from this regime. Like, they talked about how respectful and the culture that they created, and with him being one of the top leaders in the locker room, not to do him dirty, just pretty much matches the energy that they've been bringing. But, Reedie, John, whatever order y'all go, how y'all feeling about the whole John Allen thing?
I'm not all that surprised at this rate because considering last year, that offseason, he was like, I might not be here anymore. I kind of want to get rid of this. I'm not going to be here for another rebuild. I remember talking with Lake Lewis Jr. week 1 post-game, and Lake said he was the first one on the bus. That doesn't show leadership when you're the first one in the media when you're doing hot, but when you're cold as ice, you're the first one on the bus. So around week 1, I remember, some of us fans were like, "Does this mean Allen's gonna get up out of here?" And I don't want to, put out there saying, "No, Allen's a horrible player." No. He's one of the better D tackles in this game. I got his jersey in the closet. I ain't grabbing it right now. It's too far from me. It's too far over there. And I mean, when you look at defensive players in Washington, at least let's call it in the last decade, when it comes to stats, number 10 in sacks in Washington history, number 2 in QB hits, number 2 in tackles for loss in Washington history. So he'll always be a Redskin, football teamer, commander, and even Adam Peters pointed out, like, he's one of the best, in all 3 of those eras. But like Juan said, your Jalen Carters, man's only 22, 23. Aleem McNeil being used correctly in Detroit. You got Dexter Lawrence over at the Giants. Absolute dog. Oza, whatever the Cowboys D tackle is that they're projecting us to get. Dog. There are D tackles in this league that you won't hear about for weeks on end. And then you'll look at the stats and you're like, 6.5 sacks. It's been 7 games. And you look at Allen Payne. 6.5 sacks between the 3 of y'all. It's been 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm never gonna discredit him. I think out of the big 2 between Payne and Allen, I think he makes sense for the first one to go since Payne just got that contract. It's business, but I appreciate the fact, and Z, you had touched on it, that they're trying to do right by him. They want to say, all right, so someone may give us a 3rd, but if you prefer to go here and they're giving us a 4th, we're going to do you correctly and still get the best value versus, oh, Niners are calling and giving us a 5th, and you don't like San Francisco? Get up out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to steal a line from Z. Thank you for your service. But time is up.
Yeah.
I'm with Juan on this. The time for this defensive line is up. It's up. They, this experiment that we thought was Chase Young, Montez Sweat, John Allen, and Deron Payne. And I give Payne the most leeway of them all because the potential is just there. I just don't know what's happening with it. Like, that contract year, if he gives me that pain, he's good money with me. But I'm really to the point where I'm saying thank you for your service as well, Payne. John Allen, like I took up for you back when you and Payne had to spat on the sideline. I believe that was the Atlanta game, right? When we got blown out. Was that the game?
That was Dallas.
Dallas. That was in
game?
Dallas too.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I stand corrected. When Z was like trade Allen in, I was like, nah, he good. Nah, I mean, we gotta hold on to him. Like, we can't trade him. But I'm feeling that way. Like, I mean, Allen, you're okay, but you're not dominant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time to move on. It's time to get younger there. Thank you for your 8 years. Thank you for your service. But hey, it's a business. We got to move on. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are in our window. We got 4 more seasons to win it before we got to pay number 5. So we that 16 million, we could sign 2 or 3 players with that 16 million. Yeah. The draft conversation or picks don't even matter to me. It's really the money. We got 28 free agents that we got to replace. So thank you for your service, John Allen.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know what I mean? Like Reedie said, I was calling trade John Allen after him and Payne got to fighting that year. Then it definitely when he got to crying in the locker room about the whole Ron situation. I'm like, hold on, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Don't act like you're playing top-notch football. You know what I mean? You're just like the rest of these guys. So that pretty much pissed me off. And I was surprised that, you know what I mean? Well, I mean, Ron wasn't moving nobody for real. But that following year, you see he changed the script. When the new coaches came in, he was talking about, oh, yeah, it's a great locker room. And he changed his whole narrative. And, you know what I mean? As John was stating, you know what I mean, the beginning of the season, it was still a little tricky for him. And I thought he would definitely be somebody that we move by the deadline or something like that. Because if you ask Reedie, I'm always saying, like, we got to trade Allen. We ain't going to be able to trade Payne. Trade John Allen now. I was saying, when we had Chase Young, I'm like, man, trade him now while he still got value. You know what I mean? Because it just didn't make sense anymore, especially after we got Johnny Newton. The writing was on the wall. You know what I mean? So it was to that point, but he ended up getting hurt. And that's he stuck around. You know what I mean? Kudos to him for working his way back through that injury, fighting through the end, making it, you know what I mean, pushing through and making the playoff push and all that. Shout out to him. Solid for that. But I mean, like we said, the writing was already on the wall. He was definitely when we looked through the chart and looked through the contracts, he stood out. You know what I mean? Something got to happen there. So, and just like JP Finley, talked about earlier on the show, and we tweeted out earlier, you know what I mean? Don't be surprised if you see a late round pick swap for John Allen where we're not getting much back. You know what I mean? For example, a John Allen and a 6th round pick, and we might get a 4th. You know what I mean? We'll be lucky if it be something like that. So you never know. So, I mean, a lot of fans out there saying, no, we should get a 2nd. We should get a 3rd. You got to be realistic. You know what I mean? That price tag that he's at, he's not worth it. If another team acquire him, they're probably going to want to, you know what I mean, restructure that deal.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? And when you're in those situations, if you monitor like how trades operate in the NFL, when you announce somebody is, on the block, they're on the block until you release them. And you know what I mean? If don't nobody want to get them, we either going to, you know what I mean, you letting them be known that you don't want them no more. So the whole idea of, oh, maybe we can restructure him and he stick around, and like, he's gone, guys. He's out the door. Whether we're gonna be lucky if we get something back for him, and if we don't, then we're gonna cut him, and we still are gaining $16-17 million in cap space. So either way, it's a win-win for us. So lose that mindset, like this guy gonna stick around, like we're not. It's over with.
It's not happening. The other flip side of that conversation is, get him in a 6 for a 4. That's not as many teams who need defensive line help have the pick capital for it. Miami has it, but they're an 8-win team coming into this season, 9-win team coming into the season, so they're already on the outs. The Jets, they're gonna take Mason Graham or whoever's in the top 10, because this is is it fair to say this is a generational defensive line class between the interior and the edge? Because the amount of prospects at the combine alone is insane. Patriots could use it, but they need everything. Bengals could use it, but they only have 7 picks, and they need as much help as they can get because Burrow can only put up so many points on the defense, giving up as many. Vegas, but they're in a whole new rebuild. So you're going to set John Allen back 3 years for nothing. There's not a lot of teams that need defensive end that are in win now mode. That, at least if I'm a John Allen, I would like maybe Cincinnati, but you're playing some of the best teams outside of the Browns in the league in Baltimore and Pittsburgh to a degree. So you're facing Lamar twice a year now? No, thank you. The capital is weird this draft because either some teams have it or you're in Atlanta with 5 picks. And it goes first, second, fourth. So now you're losing a third. Yeah. It's a weird capital if in this trade market. Because I do a lot of mocks and a lot of trades. Not a lot of teams have the correct capital. Even if we did, let's say a Allen and a 6th for a 4th. Well, some of these teams don't even got a 4th. Atlanta forfeited their 4th. Or not Atlanta. I think San Fran has a 4th that's been forfeited for something. Well, now they're down a pick, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and one last thing too, it kind of shocked me. I was watching Rio and Lake Lewis earlier for a hot second, and Lake Lewis hopped on. He was at the combine. He was talking about some chatters they've been hearing, and one thing that he did mention was like, packaging John Allen in a first. For Myles Garrett, and Rio was like, man, nah, bro, it's gonna cost more than that. But Lake was saying like, nah, like from what I'm hearing, like Cleveland kind of may had their back against the wall in a sense, and they may value John Allen a little bit more. So that's kind of something to kind of watch and see. I think it's me personally, I think that's a long shot. I think what JP Finley was talking about is more realistic, but shit, if we can get Myles Garrett for 29th and John Allen, send that over ASAP.
Yeah, and I definitely want to, before we even move on, could add to a little bit of that part. That's actually a great nugget. The history recently, in my opinion, when it comes to trades, we go into looking at trades and seeing the name Myles Garrett and just immediately, as we often do and should, that's 2 first-round picks. That's 3 first-round picks, 2 first-round picks, and a third. We immediately just assume the draft capital is going to be insane that we have to give up. And then you look back and say, what? He only went for a 2nd and a 4th? What? So I say that to say not to be confident that Myles Garrett isn't going to cost a pretty penny, because I definitely still would go with that mindset. But do not be surprised if Washington finds a way to trade for Myles Garrett and you look at the compensation and say, oh, that's all we gave up. Okay, yeah, let's go.
It'll be great to be on the receiving end of that.
It would be great
because we've been on the opposite end.
We've been on the opposite end so many times. It'll be great to be on that end. Yeah, for sure.
I think the other part, and my bad, Reedie, if you're going to say something, but that Myles Garrett contract is going to be interesting too, because he's owed money and he needs an extension at the same time. So it might be, hey, it's going to be a 2 first and a 2nd, but if we're going to put money on and off the books, it's only going to cost you. It might remove one of those first, or it might remove one of those high value picks, because now you're putting in $16 million to Myles Garrett right there.
Yeah. But before we move on, I want to add to that last point. But I think that makes it more attractive for us, because if we're giving more money to him, that's kind of like lessening the blow of what we're going to have to kick out on the front end. Or they can package some of that in bonus or whatever. So then we're still keeping our cap numbers kind of relatively low, so we can keep building for next year and the following years and so on. But at the end of the day, if we got to give up 2 first-round picks, I mean, I look at it from this mindset. We're giving up the 29th pick. Who at 29 is better than Myles Garrett? I'll wait. Nobody's better than him.
It's all unknown. Yeah.
So, unknown, known, who's better than him? He's a top 3 talent in this league when healthy.
Yeah.
Top 3 talent in this league when healthy, in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, like, he immediately changes your defense just from a swagger standpoint. We ain't even talk. He's gonna give you at least 14, 15 sacks, and then what he can set the edge. We struggled with that all year.
Yeah.
So whatever we got to give up, write the check, give it up. You know, I mean, if Jaden Daniels and what we did this year, if we continue to do this, we're going to be picking later 24 to 29. I mean, 24 to 30, whatever. We're going to be picking in that range. So I don't care about a first round pick. Look how many first round picks we wasted on Jamin Davis, on Jahan Dotson, on Emmanuel Forbes. So that won't be two first round picks that we'll have anyway. I mean, we're used to this. So I'm just looking at it from that aspect, but we can move on.
Yeah, and one more thing though, too, that I was gonna say with that, we're kind of like picking off what John was saying. It will help us too, because not only does he need to get traded, he does need that extension. So that limits who they can trade him to, because one, he has to commit that he's going to sign a deal with that next team. And remember, he's leaving them because he wants to contend. It ain't a lot of contenders with cap space.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? That kind of cuts it short. So we're on a good end of that, having the cap and being contenders. But Howie Roseman did jumping in, trying to act like that they hate us out. And you know,
I've been hearing that.
Send whatever they need to make it happen. So we just need to act on that quick.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I mean,
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I mean, we all know cap space as a myth at this rate. So look at the Rams, but that's besides the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look how they did. How they figured that out right over them years when they ascended. You know what I'm saying? They went out and got Ramsey. They made the trade for him. They did, you know. So we can do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I talked about earlier as well. Before we do move, when we gotta talk about that, I was like, man, Philly, man, watch out! Like why are y'all trying to get so good? Like just leave us alone, or leave all the like y'all already are a super team in a sense, bro. Why do y'all need more? Like just worry about re-signing Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, bro. Let Myles Garrett come to Washington. Then I looked at it, and then I looked at it from a regular standpoint. Like not even a Commanders fan, just a regular fan. I'm like, bro, what are they doing wrong? They're trying to continue to be a great team. Howie Roseman is a dang good general manager. Like they're doing the right thing, trying to say, hey, look, before y'all trade Myles Garrett to Washington, at least let us know, see what we can offer better. And if they somehow pull that off, bro, I give up.
Yeah, facts. Like how much number crunching can you do? Like, damn, we need his salary cap guy. They making their money work.
But moving on to the next topic. It says, the confidence in Jaden Daniels. I mean, I'm more than certain all of us up here are very confident in Jaden Daniels, but we can talk a little bit more as to why that is, and moving forward into this offseason, what his ability did for this team to allow us to be so confident in attracting a Myles Garrett or attracting some of these free agents that we know in the past wouldn't even want to come to Washington, but because of Jaden Daniels, you know, and what he was able to do this season, it made us an attractive destination. So I'll first start, obviously, and then whoever wants to jump in next can. But my confidence is through the roof. I mean, it's like it's self-explanatory. I really don't have to say nothing, but just say, hey, go watch the film, man. Like, go watch the film. There's a reason why this guy's already been in top 5 conversations. It's the reason why a lot of people can say he's the best quarterback in the NFC. You know what I'm saying? If you want to put Super Bowl ring on Jalen Hurts' hand now, and you want to put that as the reason to be better than him, I can't even argue with that. But if we're talking strictly eye test, pure talent, we know what Jaden Daniels is after one season. So just his confidence to know, or to know that he even feels that he's not the finished product. Adam Peters talked about in his press conference. We'll get to that a little bit later as well. He talked about how the VR machine helps, but Jaden Daniels himself knows it's still a lot of work to be done. He was far from a perfect product, and to know that is the guy that we got in a season in which his best receiver was Terry McLaurin. But other than that, Zach Ertz, a 35-year-old Zach Ertz, was the second lead receiver, and he was throwing to Noah Brown. Granted, all these guys I'm going to name stepped up, but who are we kidding? They ain't really no game changers. They ain't a potential Garrett Wilson trade or somebody like a Chris Godwin, even though I know he's not going to come here no more. Like they ain't that kind of caliber guy. So essentially what I'm saying is my confidence is high on him, and this offseason is going to be much more high because I expect us to build around him like we should.
Yeah, I would second that. You know, me, this is funny though, because me and Z, we go back and forth. like we like the greatest friends, but we the greatest enemies at the same time because we just battling back and forth. And I remember like back in the Heineke days and the Sam Howell days when we wasn't, used to be like, well, I ain't sold. I don't know if I'm sold yet. Like it would take us so long to get sold on somebody. And then when we say they sold it, then they'll be trash after that. But it was from day one. I was sold from day one. I'm the one. I told Z, I said, you better go look at Jada Daniels. I fuck what they talking about Caleb and all these Drake Mays and all the what. He is like that. And ever since then, I've been just up here with him, elated. No way, shape, or form did I think that he was going to come in and have the season that he had. But just, from afar, just seeing what he's doing as far as like in the community, back in California right now, as well as what he does here. I don't think it's going to be no sophomore slump or anything like that. I think he's getting ready to go to work, and I think they're going to surround him with the tools to just elevate even more. So that's all I really got to say about Jaden.
Yeah, man. It just feels good to kind of look at that quarterback position and just know that we stamped it. You know what I mean? And not only like I was doing something earlier, and I just stopped thinking like, damn, we was in the NFC Championship, and this man was a rookie. You know what I mean? Like it's some promising times ahead, and you know what I mean. Just listening earlier, like I think JP was saying, man, yeah, the combine is boring, and he was talking to somebody like, man, it's just so boring, and everybody was like, well, that's because you're picking at 29. You're not in the top 3 anymore. You're not looking for a franchise quarterback. You're not in the mix. You know what I mean? You on the back end is like I got y'all guy. And you know what I mean? It just feels good to know that we've solidified that quarterback position, and the confidence is through the roof and beyond. You know what I mean? It's just like to see what he did with such little last year. It just, and to have 80 million in cap space and just to see the type of offseason that we can turn and have, it's like, dog, my mind is NFC Championship or better. Like I really am playing in my head like all season long. We're gonna have to go through a long season, but I know all season long my mind is on Eagles NFC Championship. I hope we play them again or whatever it is. So we gotta get to the Super Bowl, and it's a great feeling to be there. And I mean, I know it's more than Jaden. You know what I mean? I know it's the culture. I know it's the owner. I know it's the team. But it's like at the end of the day, this is all because of Jaden. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I'm excited. I can't wait, and it's just God really blessed us. You know what I mean? I'm just happy to be on that end where we know we got our guy.
Right quick before you go, John, I just want to add too. One of my good friends, he's a Ravens fan, and I'm kind of always hating because it's like every year they're good. And I was talking to him the other day, and I'm like, bro, this is what it really feel like to be like in the mix, like
be relevant. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then even them conversations with like the haters from the Cowboys or these other teams, when they call, the tenor and the tone is totally different now.
Facts.
Like they it's just like nothing but respect. Whereas in the past, it was just always a shot or a this or that. You know what I'm saying? It's just totally different. It's just a different dynamic for us.
Yeah, just like when I was saying I was standing out there after the Eagles game, after that NFC Championship, and just soaking that moment in of all them damn Eagles fans just swarming towards the exit and just embracing it. As much as they was trying to talk shit, it was like for every 5, it was another 5 saying, man, but Jaden Daniels isn't like that, man. He scares us. But Jaden Daniels. So it's like Reedie saying, like, they popping in shit a little bit, but it got that little asterisk was like, But we know Jaden Daniels is like that. Y'all got a great future, so it's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's great. No, like you said, we give y'all belt to ass. However, that Jaden kid,
Yeah,
man, and it's been so long since anybody's been able to say we've got our guy. But we had Taylor Heineke, but we could have had Sam Howell. Look at the coaching staff. Look at the O-line. No wonder they getting killed back there. They didn't believe in him. One offseason. New ownership. New coordinator. NFC championship. I ain't never seen in my lifetime us making it past like the divisional round of the playoffs. And I'm still like every once in a while I'll sit back and like, man, it's already almost March.
Yeah.
And we don't gotta worry about offseason to really like that, but like that. Like we gotta work, like obviously you gotta worry, but I'm not sitting there like, man, we got the second overall pick. Not gonna figure out which QB I'm gonna watch tape on. Like I don't gotta be that person.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like Jaden's already said he's gonna put on a few pounds of muscle this offseason, get a little, bigger. And like watching NFL veterans from Brian Clark to Michael Irvin to JJ Watt, and they all look at each other like it is upsetting how cool, calm, and collected Jaden keeps being. Because every time the camera pans over to him on the sideline, they're like, come on, Jaden, give us an emotion, and he won't give it to you. And it's great to see. Like nothing gets Jaden. And that's hard, it's hard to find. And I'm loving it.
Yeah, facts.
You on mute, Juan.
You muted.
My bad about that. I just wanted to piggyback on that last comment. Drake May is not Jaden Daniels, but I'm high on Drake May, so I'm not even gonna sit up here and try to put him in that conversation. But Drake May is gonna be a dog. That whole quarterback class is gonna be OC good. So, hey, but nah, I'm glad we got 5. But moving on to the next topic, up to date. It is going to be finally free agency. Obviously, we got to get through this combine first. But again, a lot of people have said today this is where the season really starts. This is where all the GMs are at. So, hey, what you think about this play? You want to trade picks? You know what I'm saying? The talk and chirping starts here.
Yep.
So the free agent approach is very simple for me. And Adam Peters kind of piggybacked on that today as well. I just recently saw it. He's kind of like, hey, we're going to be active in free agency because we have to. So we can all go around and talk about what do you think Washington's approach is going to be, and then what would your personal approach be if if you had some say into it, and kind of get where everybody's going. But I think we all on the same page, but I'll kick it off. My approach is very simple. Go all in. The success of this past season changed Washington fans' minds drastically. Had we have had a regular 8-win, 9-win season, would we be screaming, go all in, spend this money, do this, extend this player, trade for this player? No, we wouldn't. But the sole success of our quarterback and the season, realizing that we were one step away, and I don't care what nobody says, I'm going to hold this grudge until the season starts. Had we not turned the ball over that many times, actually, I ain't going to say all the turnovers, 23-34, have Austin Eckler not fumble that ball, we win that game. I'm going to down that hill because Jaden Daniels was going down to score some points. So I say that to say the success of this season put us in the position that we're in now to go all in. Our Super Bowl window has officially opened. So that's why we're the front runners to land a Myles Garrett. That's why we were in the conversation for a Chris Godwin or even a T. Higgins before all the news came out about those two guys. We're all in, and I feel as though we're pushing our chips forward. Does the Jonathan Allen move not help, defend that? Had we had a regular season, I'm sure Jonathan Allen would still be around because they realize we can get $16 million to go somewhere towards somebody else and get him up out of here, bro. We can get Odiggy Zoo, as you already mentioned, or somebody else at a different position, or use that money to extend term. Man, they're all in. And this free agency is going to be very fun to watch, and offseason in general. It's going to be fun because I know we're all in, but also it's going to be very fun to see what Adam Peters does. Because let's be real with y'all about it, guys. This free agent class is not that good. So if he finds a way to get some gems out of this free agent class, it's just going to be insane to watch. Because again, it ain't no Derrick Henry walking through that free agent class. It ain't nobody that crazy outside of nobody like that. unless it's the top two, receiver guys like that and a couple other defensive pieces. But essentially, my approach is be aggressive, be smart, but be aggressive. Spend this money that we have because our Super Bowl window started at the end of that NFC Championship, that Lincoln Financial Field. Once we walked off and that lost, that's when our Super Bowl window opened, and we have to take full advantage of it, as you alluded to earlier, before we have to pay $5. Because by the time it's ready to pay $5, that he's gonna be cashing in big time. So we're gonna have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, he gonna get $100 million a year probably.
Man,
I'm already ready to extend him.
Juan's like, where the statue at? Where am I place this statue?
Dak Prescott getting 60, he getting 100.
Shit, I'm ready for the alert to come across this year. Washington gives Jaden Daniels his 5th year option.
Washington's given Jaden Daniels has received the Patrick Mahomes contract, 10 years, $500 million.
Man, I'm telling you, that's a lot. But now though, I go next. Yeah, Juan, I'm with you on the go all in. It kind of gives me. I want to see that Daniel Snyder vibes, but with smartness. You know what I mean? Bring all these guys in for visits, or call all these guys up. Be creative as you can. You know what I mean? I want to see. I want to see us get a cornerback. I want to see us get a receiver. I want to see us get some interior linemen and D linemen. I want to see us just be aggressive. I want to see us, for instance, if a guy like Nick Chubb hit the market, I want to see us go grab a guy, upgrade, and then maybe, trade or, move or be Rob on the back end or something like that. I don't want to just focus on exactly what we need. I want to upgrade every single position. Like whoever's out there, if it's a better player, bring them in and you figure out everything else on the back end. I want to be smart about it at the same time, but like we got to capitalize in this window. I still think that, it's going to be probably like last year where you get, you're going to have your certain guys that's going to come in on 1-year deals, but I think it's going to be a lot of guys trying to do that. Because like it's an attractive team now. People want to be a part of the culture. One of the things that came out today about the report card, we DQ ranked A+, A or A+ in that category. We went from 32 to 11 as far as being, one of the favorable places to want to be. So it's definitely up for us. But I want to see us, be highly active in the free agent market and bring in some guys that's going to make a difference. DQ talked about it. Now we know what it's like, what it is to be a commander. So you got to go find them guys to fit that mold. The culture is already set. And, not only are you looking at outside guys, you definitely, of those 28 players that's pending free agents, you got to bring, quite a few of them back. So, you definitely take care home, but we're going to be active, man. I'm waiting. I'm really waiting. March 12th can't get here soon enough. And what you think, Reedie?
Go ahead, John.
All right. Our Instagram's not working, so I'm going to have to do that in here in a minute. But there's a few, like I said, smart, aggressive. I like the way y'all talking. But there's some guys I bring back. Wagner. I'm in the boat. I'm in the company, the camp. You bring back Ignogaby. I'm taking him over St. Groupie, over St. Flag, over BS St. Juice. All right. I ain't taking this no more. I can't stand this no more with this man. All right. I'm going to get a heart attack around these parts. Chin, got to bring him back. Honestly, I'd bring back Allegretti, especially with Cosme going down. You need someone who knows that garbage. Now, I see Rhea looking like I'm right about, but because it's a weird free agency, like y'all talked about. It's not great. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just not. There's not a number one guy in this free agency class. And everyone's like him. I want him. It's like y'all want Noah Brown. Y'all want Trevon Diggs. Y'all want Harold Landry. Like there's not a. Like last offseason, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. Like you were like, oh man, he'd be dope. This offseason, we're like, So draft, what you looking like this offseason? But we got $82.3 million in cap space. You get rid of Allen, you get another 16. You get rid of Andrew Wiley, you get another 10. So there's another 25 mil off the books off of the two players who are Bethula. They gotta get it out of here. All right. But smart, aggressive. I would bring, like I said, Wagner, Ignabi, get the guys that helped you on the field, but helped guys like Jaden, like Sanderson, like Newton off the field. This was like the first true offseason, besides the preseason with McManus, that there wasn't like a Washington player where all like, why are you getting arrested for? Why are you doing this? This was a great offseason because we were not having any off the field issues. And leadership is because of that. If you get rid of your leadership, it's going to crumble. So I'd bring the guys that helped you on the field, but primarily off the field, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I don't agree with you guys. And I'm going to say this. I look at this free agency class and I see solid players in this free agency class. Like you said, I mean, it's not, going to blow your doors off, but it's some players out there that can make us good, better than what we were. Like, I mean, you got the safety Huafunga from San Francisco out there. You got several corners that could come in and be better than what we had, and St. Juice and Mike Davis. You got some better linebackers out there that we could possibly bring in one or two linebackers. There's a couple offensive guards and out there that we may need. I feel like Allegretti maybe have to be relegated back to the bench and be a backup because there's probably somebody out there that we can bring in better if we draft somebody. So I don't think that this free agency class is trash per se, but I agree with you guys on the be aggressive, but be cautiously aggressive. I feel like go out and spend money, but just don't throw these landish contracts to any and everybody. I feel like maybe this year we can step up a little bit from the 1 year deal to maybe a 2 year deal or something like that. But it's some guys out here that we can get in free agency to kind of fill in the voids if they're already thinking about getting Myles Garrett. But that has to be the number one priority for them. What are they going to do with that? Because everything is dictated off of that. So if you go out and you get him, then your plan won't be your plan if you didn't go out and get him. But then there are also some other guys that you can bring in that's kind of solid guys that may not give you what a Myles Garrett give you, but will give you something more than what we had. So that's just my standpoint on it. And that's why I say I don't agree with y'all on that, because I feel like, every day it's like I'm seeing new names hitting the free agency or people getting let go. And I'm like, well, damn, that's a solid player. It wasn't like he no slouch. So, that's where I'm at on it.
So I do want to respond to that quickly. I see what you're saying from that standpoint. I do see a lot of people also have that same kind of mindset of not go all in with especially with how poor or not how mid this free agency class is. Here's the thing though that I say to that. You don't want to eventually, now that expectation is here, you don't want to become Buffalo. I'm sorry to throw Buffalo under the bus, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, but you don't want to go down that path of being that team that is almost constantly in championship games, but never getting over that hump. So I say that to say there's some guys that you're going to have to just find, similar to what we did this past year. I agree with you. We're going to have to find some guys out there that may be overlooked in the free agent market, and you may have to throw them a 2-year deal. Well, I don't expect Adam Peters to go out there and sign everybody to a 4-year, 3-year extension, but there may be a couple players that we sign as offseason to a 3-year deal, whether it's like a guy of our own, Jeremy Chin, a 3-year deal to him. He's young and he was solid last year. Or go out and sign a free agent that, again, is under the radar, not really too highly thought of, to a 3-year deal. I think you have to do a healthy balance of both because of the expectation. Now, in year one, that's where you set the foundation. So that's where you bring in the Bobby Wagners, the Zach Ertz, to show the way to these young guys to see this is how it has been in the pros, and this is how we can show you the way. Now that is out the way, in my opinion at least, That's out the way, and now the expectation is here. And no Washington fan, like Z just said, no Washington fan is going to be excited or happy with the result of this upcoming year if we don't, in my opinion, go to the Super Bowl. I know that may be too high, but win the NFC Championship and go to the Super Bowl, that's my expectation now because of what they did last year. So that's why I think you go all in, regardless of how talented this free agent class is or who's on the trade block. You need to do that right now, especially with your cap space being the most that it is right now. Of course, it may go up next year after that, but you're getting that much closer to then having to pay $5. So again, I think this is where the GMs get paid their bread and butter to find gems in free agent classes like this.
Yeah, I agree. Because look at last year, a lot of people didn't know about Frankie Louvu. He came out and, he got a multi-year deal, and he ended up being one of the best players on our defense, tone setters and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be guys under the radar, like you're saying. And I think, this, this front office, they have the capability of finding, digging deep and finding guys like that. Especially with DQ having knowing everybody and Adam Peters knowing everybody, so they get that extra chitter chatter. But overall, I do think that, I think like he said, I think we definitely going to be active, and I think that it's just definitely going to be some balance in it. But like you said, in a sense of going all in, it's definitely, you want to evaluate everything. Like I was saying, if you can get a guy, if it's a guy out there and you might got a guy on your team already, man, go get that better guy and ship somebody out if you need to. It is what it is.
There's someone in this comments, and I respond to them, but Reed, if you can pull them up. The Hawk TV said, I would bring Chase Young for a conversation and sign him to a reasonable deal. I'm sorry. I gave Chase Young some leeway when he was here. I got his jersey on sale in the closet. I can't have this man freelance. I can't have this man. I can't have this man freelancing out on the field. All right. We already got people freelancing in Washington. I don't need some secondhand Alien versus Predator on the field. I don't need it.
On sale.
I don't want it. I don't ever need it again in my lifetime. But Chase Young, you can get him on a 1 year, $3 million deal. I get a kicker for that price because we need a kicker.
Nah, facts.
Yeah, I want to put all this Chase Young shit to bed. We do not need, under no circumstances, Chase Young.
No,
under no circumstances.
Jimmy Uso.
No, and I was a Chase Young guy, but we don't need Chase Young. Chase Young at this point does nothing for us. We're on the bigger and better players. You know what I'm saying? Like, please stop this Chase Young fantasy or bring back this person or bring the only person that I'm willing to bring back
is Trent Williams.
It's Trent Williams. That's it. The only person.
And Sam Farron trying to get his heir apparent in this job. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, they already said he's gonna be back next year. I saw something. I saw his name come across the blogs earlier, and I'm like, "Oh, Trent." Then it was like, "Yeah, he will be back next year."
I saw someone on I don't know if it was Commanders Enthusiast because I've been following a lot of accounts, but he said, but y'all, we could trade our 3rd round pick for Trent Williams and a 5th. I said, you kidding me, right? The 2019 trade all over again? No, sir. No yeet, as I say to that.
Yeah. No, I'm not really on that either. But where we at? There was another comment. Somebody asked a question about Max Crosby.
I would
that was another subject I was gonna bring up because my man Lake keeps saying he keep bringing it up. Don't be surprised if they get a Myles Garrett and Max Crosby.
Oh,
they found a way to pull that off. Like that'd be sick.
That would be mortgaging the future if I've ever seen. That is 2021 Rams. F them picks. We going right now. And I would still bring back Dante Fowler because you can't. It's hard to replace 7.5 sacks as a rotational guy, but that's just me.
I gotta see on Fowler. You gotta see if these other guys are available. You gotta wait and see on Fowler.
I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing with that. If we got Crosby and Garrett, well, that jersey collection expanded this season. I got to burn a few. But
Yeah.
I think the only thing with the two of them are going to be just contracts. Is how easy is it to get all those contracts? That's the only because if Pete Carroll goes in there and says, "I know we just signed you and Christian Wilkins to big deals, but if y'all want out, there's the door." All right. As he's chewing bubblegum while he's talking. I would love Max Crosby. I would love to put the official 99 on Mad Max. It's just contracts. It's going to be hard to negotiate compensation. That's all. Put your capitalism.
Hey,
That's
he gonna slap Max across young.
Hey, nah, but I mean, if we have a chance to get Max Crosby, I was saying Max Crosby before this Myles Garrett even came up because he seemed like he was disgruntled, and he really wasn't feeling what they're doing out there. But with this Pete Carroll signing, he may want to see what's going on, see what they're going to do, because ultimately Pete Carroll is a good coach. But
sure.
some of the other names that are floating around there. What do you guys feel about bringing in a possible Cooper Kupp or a Stephon Diggs? Because I'm hearing them names float out there now that Higgins is probably going to get franchise tagged and Chris Godwin is probably going to get re-signed by Tampa. So what do you guys think about that? I would say I don't think Cooper Kupp is washed. A lot of people say that he's washed, he's this, he's that. All of them intermediate routes, all of them underneath routes, that's what he's going to excel at.
That's bread and butter.
All of that slot stuff, he's going to excel at that. And he can stretch the field as well. He's not a burner as far as he ran like a 4.6 when he was in the combine years ago. So he's not a burner, but he just understands coverages, he understands windows and how to get open. He's a true chess piece. So I wouldn't be mad if we went out and got a Cooper Kupp. Stephon Diggs, I'm not necessarily sold on that. Z brought that up to me earlier. I think it was either yesterday or today about Stephon Diggs, and he was like, "Well, he's better than whatever we had here." That was his argument. My argument
better
was
than Zacchaeus, better than McCaffrey, better than my man Crowder, better than Noah Brown. He better than all them guys. Terry. Better than Diami.
Yeah, facts. I mean, he is, but I just don't know. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if he's a commander. This is still there.
According to that,
according to what's a command. I don't know if he's a commander.
That's the new shit.
That's new.
Yeah. What do y'all feel about that? Like,
I would take Cooper Kupp over Stephon Diggs just because Diggs is a diva. He wants out after a year and a half of every play. So and I think the Texans are going to take him back because they need him as the 3 to Nico and a tank. I like Kupp. I like him so much more than everyone's saying. We need to go get Tyreek Hill. I do not need the 5'10" DMX in the DMV. All right, I don't need it.
Shit. You tripping?
I don't need it. I will take. I'm good.
Shit. I trade a first for Reek today.
He ain't even worth it first.
Shit. Give me Reek. Jade and the Reek. Come on, you see Jade at home?
It would be nasty. It would be nasty.
Yeah. Reek on a slant? Oh my God. Yeah, give me Reek.
True, but he went to Miami.
I don't know if I would give up a first for him though.
Shit.
Definitely not.
I
would.
ASAP.
He went to Miami because he said Tua was the most accurate QB. He gonna die on that hill, literally, because it ain't that tall for him. Anyways, I'm taking Cooper Kupp because he's not in the laundromat. He's not in the machine. He's not washed. All right. Yeah. That offense runs through Kyren Williams and Puka Nacua. Let's be honest. And all right, cool. Coop's 31. And he's a wide receiver. Adam Thielen's still playing down in Carolina. And he's like their number 1. He would be the number 2 here in Washington. I would take him greatly. Now, if we got to trade big, like anything below a 4th, I don't know. But like his contract wouldn't be all that massive. It wouldn't be a $15 million a year type of wide receiver. You'd probably get him on the same deal you got Zacchaeus or Brown on. 2-year, like 12. I'd give Kupp that just to make sure he could help coach a McCaffrey while he's at it.
He might get more than that.
A little bit more, but it's not going to cost you 2 years, 25, 26.
Yeah, no.
No.
I don't think Diggs is gonna cost that much money though. I think Diggs is, I mean, especially with a hometown discount, you get to play your brother twice. You know what I mean? All those other factors that people probably not thinking about. You know what I mean? Come play with Jaden. I think Diggs would be solid with us. You know what I mean? He is slightly a diva. I get it.
I like Diggs in Dallas because he can play with his brother and he fit right into Jerry's world of the circus.
I would want Diggs over Metcalf though, because Metcalf is really a crybaby.
He is a crybaby. But he's what 6'4", 6'5"? DK Metcalf, because he would be the
personality wise is why I'm saying that.
6'4". If we got DK, that would be you have Terry on your slots and your goes. If you wanted a contested jump ball, DK would be your guy at 6'4". You need that tall physical receiver. But he is big crybaby.
Yeah.
For sure. Someone said Diggs hitting all the clubs. Negative 10-4 on him.
You want to chime in on the receivers, Juan?
Yeah, let me go ahead and first start by saying yes, I'm including my biasness in this when I say this. Yes, I want Stephon Diggs here. He was my favorite player, being a hometown guy, one of my favorite players, him and Josh Allen. Before we got J. Daniels. Okay, so Terry McLaurin was my favorite NFL and commander, but besides that, it was Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs for obvious reasons. So, of course, I want SD. SD is 1 year removed from being one of the best receivers in the league. I think this torn ACL has reshaped his brain, so he knows, okay, I'm at the tail end of my career. I need to just win. All I need is a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A famer. Some probably would say he's already Hall of Fame based off of accolades and stuff like that. But I think he is a Super Bowl ring away from solidifying that. And what better way to finish off your career than with the home squad? Now, I do think he's probably going to end up staying in Houston or going to Dallas. But that's my pitch. I like Stephon Diggs. He's a veteran receiver that I very high on Chris Godwin. My internet is janky right now, so I apologize. But am I back now? Am I good?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah,
you good.
Okay. So I wanted Chris Godwin. That was my number one option. Then when I saw that he went to Houston, or excuse me, he's reworking the contract extension with the Bucks, I said, okay, I'm more open to Debo. I'm more open to Cooper Kupp now. And I even had this crazy reality that maybe somehow we could land both. I don't think that's going to happen, but considering the fact that Debo Samuel is kind of in that same realm of Jonathan Allen on a much lesser scale, because I do think teams are going to trade for Debo Samuel. Like, I think we would be a team that trade for him. But I only say that to say I genuinely don't think a team's going to trade for Jonathan Allen because he's on the final year of his contract. The production isn't that good, and they know, hey, if we don't trade for him now, we know in a couple months they're going to cut him. I think that's the same kind of situation that the 49ers are treating Debo as such. However, it's Debo Samuel. I know he hasn't produced as such, but he's going to require some type of trade bait. So I say that to say I want to go all in on receiving core. So even if we get a Cooper Kupp, I still want to add more. Even if we get a Stephon Diggs, I still want to add more. If we get a Debo Samuel, I still want to add more. That's my realm that I'm in now, though, y'all. I'm in that veteran market now, obviously. I don't think there's a young guy in the draft that I think can come in and immediately step in and be number 2. Trey Harris, maybe. Come from Ole Miss. He's kind of that AJ Brown and DK Metcalf receiver build. So maybe
from Ole Miss too.
Yeah, maybe him. But outside of that, I think this receiving core I genuinely think we're gonna go all veterans, y'all. I think we re-signed Army. He's the lone young guy that can learn behind the Diggs, behind the Cooper Kupp, whoever, or even the Debo Samuel, because he's 29, 30 years old as well.
Yeah. Well, we also have a Luke on Sona's rookie deal, so it's Terry and Luke the only contracted receivers. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I never really thought about that. That you mentioned in Juan, the possibility of bringing in Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs or Debo. Like I mean, I don't want a Debo. I feel like he's a gadget guy. Like, I mean, he's going to help you obviously in your run game, but I feel like we need to go draft a Travion Henderson or bring in a Cam Scatterbo or somebody like that. They'll be in the projections right now. Some of these mock drafts, they got Ashton Jeanty going 22, but in the top 20.
So the Chargers,
he's the number one back. One of them other backs is going to be there. So I feel like if we don't move on that 29 pick, I mean that would be crazy to take a running back at the 29 with other holes. But I mean, I think we can get Henderson and maybe a little later. But like that's like my wish list or whatever. But that would be crazy, like to have, like you said, all veteran receivers, because the draft receivers, I mean, they're cool. But there's not nobody that really like wows you in a sense. And if they do, they're already going to be gone by the time we come around, unless we're willing to go up for a receiver, and I doubt that.
This year we only had one rookie receiver.
Yeah,
and Luke. I mean, so it's definitely possible. And I kind of go against what Reedie's saying. I would like to get a guy like Debo, because as creative as Cliff gets, you know what I mean? Imagine having Debo, you know what I mean? You can use him as a receiver and a running back. It just adds that dynamic in the passing game and the run game. You don't know what's coming your way. I mean, you know what I mean? You ain't got to rely on Eckler so much.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the thing is, I don't know. I saw this report. I don't know how true it is. Although I feel like he would be doing himself a disservice if this is his mindset. But what I saw was Debo wants to be treated as a number one receiver wherever he goes next, because a lot of a lot of the ways that he was used in San Francisco was a gadget guy, and he didn't want to be in that role. He don't want to be a running back. He wants to be a pure receiver, and I don't think that fits him. I think that goes against his skill set. However, that changes whether you go out and you get a guy like Debo, if that's his mindset, because he's obviously not going to be the number one receiver here in Washington. The next one that I did want to add on before we moved on was to Reedie's point. Hey, Reedie, I was just like you just a couple years ago. Let me turn my camera back on. I don't know why I just cut off, but I was just.
All right.
Go ahead, John, until he comes back with his point.
All right. I mean, I agree to a point. It's not the greatest receiver draft. Although I've got my guys, obviously. I think we all have our my guys in this draft. I'm a Trey Harris fan. I'm a Jack Betch fan. Josh Taylor, shout out Josh, he put me into the Kyle Williams camp. Tez Johnson out of Oregon. Elijah Badger out of Florida later on. Nick Nash out of San Diego State, who really should have been wide receiver of college football, even though Trav got it. I don't think he's getting the respect he's gonna warrant. Like, there's some and those are all bigger guys besides Tez. Tez is like your Diami replacement. Savion Williams, the comments keep suggesting that's a 6'5"
that's my guy.
demon.
I from the really run like a 4. They say he run like a 4.3, 4.4, something like that.
Dude.
I'm waiting to see his 40 time, because that's gonna be 6'5". Yeah, that's
Savion Williams.
Did you see bro? Go look at his highlight tape. When I seen his highlight tape, I was sold.
When you sent it to me.
I was sold.
Damn.
John, I was talking to John and some private little messages. John was like, "Yeah, it was not a guy. Like, he wasn't a John guy." And in my mind, I'm saying, like, crazy. Like, this dude looks.
I was like, he cool. He cool.
Right. But go ahead, Juan. Finish your point, Juan.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the internet over here tonight, y'all. But what I was going to say was, I was just like you a couple years ago, and kind of how the running backs were getting, I would say they were kind of getting pushed out of the league. Oh, you can get a running back in the 3rd round, 4th round. You know what I'm saying? But my mind changed once Detroit drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. I remember that night too. When Detroit drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, all those guys, I said, what the hell is Detroit doing? Why are they taking Jahmyr Gibbs that early on? Seeing what Jahmyr Gibbs is, seeing what Bijan Robinson is. I say that to say, and then obviously with Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs, the running back position is back, man. So if we take a running back in the 1st round, Amarion Hampton or somebody like that, like, even if Ashton Jeanty, I doubt he's gonna be there, but if somehow he's pushed all the way down to 29, if we take a running back in round 1, is it my number one, position group? Probably not. I mean, but if it falls like that, or if they do say a running back is that important to us, but we got to go number one, I'm not mad at it like how it would be a couple years ago, because now I think the running back position as a whole is back in full effect, especially with Cliff Kingsbury and how he can get things going, and especially knowing that we need it. I love B-Rob. I think he's an asset to this team, but he clearly showed that we need some type of explosion at that position, and there's so many guys that can provide you with that coming out of this draft.
B-Rob, losing my voice. Thank you for your service. B-Rob, thank you for your service. We need a breakaway back.
I knew that was.
We need a back that can take it the distance anywhere on the field.
Yeah,
I knew that.
Come on, man. Look what Saquon and them do, man. They take it the distance anywhere. B-Rob, he's one cut and caught. Come
Saquon
on, man.
is probably the best running back out of these past few years. When you talk about consistency, considering the Giants used him like garbage. So I don't know about Saquon, but yes, Brian Robinson is not safe. And I've said this a few times. I think y'all have said it. I think one of might have seen you say it. I've seen Twitter say it. This might be the deepest running back draft class maybe ever. There are guys later on, your Jordan Jameses, your Basul Tuttons, your Woody Marks in the comments, your Devin Neals in the 4th and 5th round. Any other draft class, these guys are 2nd and 3rd round pieces at your lowest floors. But they get these guys in the 5th, the 6th. I'm sitting here like, some of these teams might go 2 running backs because there's so many of them. And if we get one of them, I like Tutton. I like Woody Marks. I used him on mock draft 1.0. Scattaboo, Hampton, Ashton, Henderson, and Quinshot Junkins. RJ Harvey.
I forgot
this
about
and I'm so forgetting guys.
We might need to get Mike Shanahan on and a consultant for the draft.
Because I just listed off what I've listed like 10 guys, and I'm forgetting half this class. That's how deep this class is. So deep, every team could take a running back, and there'll still be a few on the board. And we all be sitting there like, that's a fit. That's a fit. He's your new number 1. That's a fit. Dallas, you took 3. You're greedy, but I respect the hustle.
And shit, what about the offensive line? This offensive line class. What do you think about that? Interior, like guards.
Ooh. You know, it's actually not honestly not that bad. I like some of the later round guys. Your Fairchild out of Georgia, I've mocked. Clay Webb, I've mocked. What's the dude's name? Marcus Ware out of Montana State. Hasn't given up a sack in 3 years. Well, he plays FCS. He doesn't know he's not playing real competition. And Ashton Jetty got the same conversation, and if it wasn't for Travis Hunter, he would have won Heisman. I'll take a guard who hasn't given up a sack in 3 years. Half these NFL linemen be giving up 5 sacks in 6 games. I'm looking at you, Wiley. That's besides the point. Yeah, I like this interior class a little more than I like the tackle class. I think Wyatt Millam out of West Virginia, tackle, he's going to work better as a guard, same way Peter Skoronski 2 years ago came to the combine as a tackle, got drafted as a guard to the Titans. I think he'll work the same, but it's not the worst O-line class. It's not the strong point of this class. That's your D-line, that's your running backs. Michael linebackers, but it's probably the 6th best position class in this draft. Do we need one? Yes, because again, free agency is gonna be not great. But if you get a late round guard, cool. I ain't gonna complain with more offensive line help. Gotta protect Jaden somehow.
So basically, what I got from this conversation, I need to be tapped in Saturday to these running backs.
Yes. Uptown Drake, Charles Grant out of William and Mary. I've add him to that tackle conversation. Yeah, this running back class is insane. I'm gonna have to clip this out. The amount of running backs just PFF has. All right. Running back wise, Genty. Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, I forgot so many. Genty, Hampton, Scattaboo, Dylan Sampson, Tennessee, Caleb Johnson, Iowa, Henderson and Judkins. I mean, Devin Neal, RJ Harvey, DJ Giddens, Jaden Blue, Brashad Smith, Jarquez Hunter, Trevor Etienne, Kyle Monagai, Marcus Yarns, Caleb Munnings, Ja'Cory Kronsky Merritt, who I think was like the best player of the Senior Bowl, Taj Brook, Ollie Gordon, Jaquinn Jackson, LaQuinn Allen, Donovan Edwards, Montrell Johnson. Like, the amount of talent at the running back position is insane. It might be the best running back class I've ever seen in my life.
Well, shit, pick your poison. You named like 7 or 8 backs that I know for a fact that I like, and whatever the run on the running backs is going to be, I think it's maybe being sometimes in sometime in the second or third round.
Second round.
It's going to be crazy. So I'm excited to see what we're going to do when it comes to that. But like you said, Juan, I do agree that running backs are making a comeback and their value is becoming more apparent. But I just don't know, like, with all of the needs that we have, if we're going to jump up at 29 and take it back. Now, Genty, I might have to take him, me personally. Yeah. But
I think we go BPA. Though. That's the thing too about it. We no longer, in the past, we drafted for needs and we ended up with Jamin Davis. We drafted for needs and ended up with Emmanuel Forbes. So that's a high possibility why I think we go running back, because if BPA and Genty sitting there with BPA 29, Omarion Hampton is the best player you have on your board. You might end up taking a running back just because that's the best player technically still on the board.
But the beautiful thing about this whole scenario anyway is we'll know what we're going to probably do anyway, because free agency is going to set the makeup for what we're going to do. So that blueprint, we're going to all kind of already follow what they're going to do based off of this free agency, this first or second run of free agency that's getting ready to come up.
Definitely.
Oh, no good.
Yeah.
What else you got, Z?
No, that's it on that topic. What else would we?
I think we got the last topic on the Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, the Lattimore thing. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're interested in moving on from him. You know, what I mean, they made this trade not only with, you know, this past season in mind. You know, they looked at who could potentially be available. I think I heard that they was looking at, you know, who could potentially be available or whatever, and to kind of snag him and, you know, what I mean, have him is a good thing. Where we don't have to look and try to, you know, maybe get 2 corners, because I still think we need at least one more. I would like it if they could maybe kind of, you know, what I've seen other teams do, convert some, you know, salary into some bonus or something, or pay him some guaranteed money to kind of get a lower cap hit, because I think he's sitting at what, like in that $15-16 million range against the cap, somewhere up in there. But I would love to see, you know, I mean, if they get creative with his contract, or maybe not, because, you know, I mean, it could be one of them Wentz situations where you got your way out if he don't pan out. So it's kind of a wait and see thing with that. But with having so much money in cap, I don't think they interested in doing nothing with him unless they really have to, and it doesn't seem like they have to. So he's gonna stick around, and they believe in him. I mean, they gave up a pretty good, you know, amount of draft compensation to get him. So we'll see. And, you know, let him have a whole offseason to get healthy. You know what I mean? Like we said, the attitude is there. You know what I mean? He just had a little tough rough with, you know, going against some of them guys that, you know, at the end, Mike Evans and AJ. And I mean, the Lions game, he did a solid, but, you know what I mean? The bigger names definitely, you know, showed out on him. So hopefully he can regroup and gather himself and, you know, do his thing. But I don't see them moving him at all.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Adam Peters. He stood by his side since day one. I mean, we've seen his first game in New Orleans. What did Adam Peters do? He literally picked him up, full uniform and all. You know what I'm saying? So he has a true love for Marshawn Lattimore. They traded for him with knowing, I would assume, knowing that this injury was intact. There was no way you do and don't have no awareness of the injury. And look, I never make excuses for guys, because when you suit up, you play, and you're expected to play the best. That's why after Mike Evans game in the playoffs, I seen it. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, he's not 100%. Like, you can clearly tell. I understand Mike Evans is a dog, first ballot Hall of Famer, but ain't no way he just given the history that they have every single time, ain't no way he just doing this to Marshawn Lattimore like that. Then we get to the Eagles game, fast forward, and then same thing goes, right? And I kind of earned a respect for AJ Brown over this past offseason. Hearing the way he talks, the media, that's one guy that the media just gets wrong. Now, and I see it firsthand now that I'm here listening to all his interviews. He's truly a humble and good guy. And he even gave Marshawn Lattimore his credit. Like, he's like, bro, he's a good corner, and he's just hurt. You know what I'm saying? Once he get right, he's gonna be fine. The thing that he said the thing that he don't like about him is that he's weird in the sense of he gets in your head, he tries to mess with you, and then when he realizes the receiver ain't going like that and going to do the same thing, he kind of gets out of character and try to overly do it. And I would say I like that about him, but at the same time, you gotta back that up in a sense, right? You gotta be able to know, hey, this is AJ Brown. So if I'm gonna do this to AJ Brown, I gotta be prepared to shut him down. If not, I'm gonna get cooked. So I'm confident in Marshawn Lattimore. I think true offseason to heal a soft tissue injury, which we know don't truly heal once it's injured throughout the season. He'll be fine. And Adam Peters doesn't seem to budge. And I'm with John early on. I want Noah Igbenogany back. I know they want to upgrade their cornerback position. A lot of y'all may as well. But, bro, me personally, I want to run it back with the same three and just add depth. I know they want to push Mike Sammerstill inside so bad. Oh, he's 5'9". His measurements are small. Bro, you seen what he did to A.J. Brown that first game? I don't care if he's 5'9". He can play on the outside. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I want to run it back with those three guys and just get that. Noah is 25 years old, bro. He's 25 years old, and he had a hell of a season. He was a big reason as to why Juan got that pick six versus Detroit. So the cornerback position for me is fine. I think they're going to upgrade it, though. I don't know if that's the right move. I'm never against getting more talent, but if Juan was in charge, I would probably run back with the same three and just add draft pieces or some other free agents like a Mike Jackson or somebody like that to this room. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about him. Marshawn Lattimore, he'll be fine, and I got confidence that he'll bounce back next year.
So real quick, not a Travarius Ward, no.
If that comes available, I didn't even think of that because I was just focused on the guys that are here. If Travarius Ward comes available, there's no question I want him. Talanoa Hufanga, want him. Dre Greenlaw, I know his knee banged up, but turn me to the Washington 49ers. I don't care. All them boys can come over here and join us.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. But for me, I mean, did we really think that Marshawn Lattimore was going to be on the market? Like, if you really thought that, then you must don't really know football. Like, the man was hurt. So you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I give him the big doubt. Now, if he goes into this next season and he does the same things, then we have to question it, possibly. But I definitely agree with you guys on the sentiment of Noah bringing him back. We bring him back and still have those three. But I do think that you have to have a better outside corner. Whereas I feel like Noah and Mikey, everybody's going to get in the game. Everybody's going to play. But I feel like you got to get a little bit stronger on the outside. And if you have the opportunity to bring in one of these safeties, you do that as well as Quan Martin played. And I'm assuming that they're going to bring back Jeremy Chin. You have to bring in another probably free safety. And I think for the secondary, I think, just maybe a corner and a safety. And I think we can kind of address our secondary and then roll and re-sign Noah. But Marshawn Lattimore is Marshawn Lattimore. I call him Hood Ninja Lattimore because he he gives me what I want. Like that's just tenacity. Like that's just that dog. This is like I'm not going like that. Like that's how you gotta play. Like you gotta turn into a Brian Dawkins and turn into a different person. Could be the most humblest person, normally. But then once you get between them white lines, you gotta turn it up to a different level. And I like that about him. But like you said, Juan, I think he needs to be more controlled in those settings or whatever when he's doing those things. But I think like with this offseason and him able to, rest the hamstring and maybe get back to his training and, kind of like, look at last year holistically and kind of like figure out different things. And I think he's going to come back this year, ready to go. But I'm just excited for, these OTAs and all of this, just everything that's to come. I'm just so excited for.
Yeah, that's why I laughed when Juan was saying how AJ was saying Lattimore a little weird. I think that hood shit get the kicking in on him, and he don't know how to calm that shit down. You know what I mean? Because everybody else probably looking like, bro, it's just football. Like, you know what I mean? We going at it, but then he get to taking it to another level. Like we really in the streets. So that's why I laughed at you, Reedie, because he do give you that vibes. Like, I remember how I was saying how he was looking at Roy when Roy was putting the flag around him, like, I mean, Roy putting the flag around him. We know Roy do his thing, but just the way he was looking, his vibe was just off. And somebody in the comments was like, "It's something about him that I don't know." And then somebody else came back with like, "Yeah, he the type to slap for Vaughn." And I'm like, man, that's just like what you got from him. So he just looking like, I don't know, something definitely off with him. So yeah, I think that hood shit get the kicking in. Yeah.
You good, John? You already went?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, fellas, this was a great episode, man, to chop it up. Everybody that's in the chats on whatever platform you're on, please like, share, subscribe to all of our channels. We will be doing this every Wednesday at 8 p.m. all the way up through training camp. So you guys will see us more and more. We're going to bring you guys, all of the top information that we see pertaining to this team. And if you want us to cover something in particular, get in the comments, get in the DMs and Instagram and just message us. We are all approachable. We all respond to everybody. And we'll get back to you and we'll chop it up on the next week's show. So until next week, I'm Reedie.
I'm Z.
I'm John.
I'm Juan.
And we are the Burgundy Breakdown. So we are out of here.